Ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and good afternoon. Welcome back to Bank Rakyat's International Islamic Banking Conference 2014.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي رب زدنا علما اللهم نور قلوبنا بنور هدايتك كما نورت الأرض بنور شمسك وصلى الله على محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. Tan Sri, Puan Sri, Datuk-Datuk, distinguished scholars, distinguished speakers, invited guests, and all participants of this conference. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you, Mr. MC, and very warm welcome to all participants of International Islamic Banking Conference 2014. In this afternoon session, after lunch session actually, it would be a bit challenging for all of us, especially when we want to stay focused. And this will include the moderator as well. So, however, when you have a very interesting topic like gold, the glitters of gold, the glitters alone should spark enough attention and draw much curiosity and excitement. And adding to that, you are all very fortunate to have a brilliant combination of industry players and scholars to discuss gold pawnbroking or gold investment as practiced by several Islamic financial institutions. So I would like to present the speakers first, Encik Suhaimi, one of Orang Kuat BKR, Assistant General Manager, Strategic Planning and Managing Director's Office. Welcome and thank you very much for joining us. And a gentleman in the middle is Ustaz Kamal Mukhtar, a man of importance who closed deal on several sukuks globally. And currently Ustaz is a director of Zain Associate. I hope your journey is a pleasant one, sir. And to his left is Professor, well-known Dr. Ashraf Muhammad Asim, CEO of Isra Consultancy, a well-known scholar who chairs Sharia Committee of Bursa Malaysia, a member of SAC BNM, and sit on several Sharia advisory globally. So your reputation actually precedes you. Welcome and thank you very much for joining us. And on my far left is the celebrity Ustaz, known as Ustaz Dr. Zaharuddin Abdul Rahman. Your reputation also precedes you. I do not need to introduce more than that. All right? Your presence graces us today, and thank you very much. This is how we are going to do this evening or afternoon session. We will discuss on gold pawnbroking. And each presenter will have a luxury of 30 minutes to address the audience, 25 or 30. And then we will start with Mr. Suhaimi, followed by Ustaz Mukhtar. And after that, we will let the panel discussants unleash their remark and observation for about 15 minutes each. And for the third round, the presenters will address concerns raised by the panel discussion. And if there are any remaining times, we will be more than happy if the floor could share their thought with us. Okay? So that's what the conference are. We share thoughts. So with this interesting topic, gold pawnbroking, okay, I would like to welcome Mr. Suhaimi to address the floor on the true objective on pawnbroking upon its introduction. And sir, you have about 25 to 30 minutes. Please welcome.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and good afternoon to all. thank you, Ustaz, for giving a warm opening remark for me. Okay, first of all, as a host, I would like to take this opportunity to thank all our guests on the stage. We have Ustaz Makamal from Singapore, and Professor Dr. Ashraf from ISRA, and Dr. Zaruddin from IIUM. But not forgetting, I would like also to thank all of you to be here, because it's you that makes this conference a success. So today my presentation will be as said by Ustaz Wan, the true objective of pawnbroking upon its introduction. Okay, so I am not Datuk Mustafa. Okay. Okay, basically I will be sharing Bank Rakyat's experience in developing the Islamic pawnbroking, which was introduced maybe about 21 years ago. And doing so, I hope, like Ustaz Wans had warned us earlier, that to keep you guys awake. So this is quite a dry subject. Okay, this is the content of my presentation. So it's been given into 3 parts. Okay, the first part is microcredit to fulfill the social need, economic needs. Okay. Basically, I will give you a background what conventional pawnbroking is all about. So it was introduced to this country probably in the 19th century by the Chinese immigrant that were working largely in one of the tin ore states, which is Perak. So over the years, it had developed into other parts of the country. And to this day, Perak still has a largest number of pawnbroking license doing this pawnbroking business. Okay, and the wide network coverage has made things easier for the customers to have access to these so-called financing facilities. Okay, so in any pawnbroking business, you must have an asset. So the most popular asset used for this pawnbroking purpose is gold. Okay. So with the availability of these outlets, the patrons, which are the customers, they are the lower to medium income earners. So basically, it's something like giving small loans to help out what financial needs that they require. So at that particular time, even now, there's still needs for this kind of financing to this group of people, because this group of people are people that doesn't have a record as far as credibility standing is concerned. And it's also another alternative besides loans that you can get from friends and family members and probably illegal ways of getting money. So this service was popular due to the fact that there wasn't any hassle in applying for the loan. All you need to do is bring your gold and bring yourself, present it to the pawnbroker, and they give you the money. Okay? The flexibility in the terms of valuation, the approvals, the simple procedure, and convenience allows the customer to obtain cash with ease. However, there are several disadvantages to this. Okay? Basically, since it's so simple to attain cash, so definitely the pawnbrokers will probably charge you a high interest rate. So normally it's about come to about 2% monthly, aggregating to about 24% yearly. So another disadvantage is the method of valuation of the gold. So conventionally, the customer doesn't know how it's been done, but all they know is they get their money. Okay, I'm not talking about big loans. I'm talking about $500, 1,000 ringgit, small loans. Okay, and they also use this ticket. They call this pawn tickets, which uses unreadable handwriting because the operators are basically Chinese. So the ticket are not yeah, probably some of you guys see they are not legible in one sense. So in a way it allows the pawnbroker to manipulate on the tickets. Okay, and as usual when you pawn an asset, there's a tenure. So at the end of the day, you need to at least pay up and take back your asset. But normally the pawnbrokers will have no notices given when it expires, due to the fact that the pawnbroker feels that the responsibility of the lending lies on the customer. So that allows the pawnbroker to do funny things to the business. And at the same time, they also have this habit of not returning whatever excess of the asset that had been sold to cover the money that was given up front. So, and what is interesting is, if you were to walk into a pawnbroking shop in the past, probably 30 years ago, as I did, you could see that the counter is very high. Okay, as a result, you are like really in need of money, and the pawnbrokers will take advantage of you. And the way that they do things on top, you don't know what's happening. Even if they were to weigh your asset, you don't know whether it's the correct weight, or the quality of the gold at the same time. So that results to conventional pawnbroking to be a bit transparent. Okay, as we developed, maybe about 20 years ago, Islamic pawnbroking was introduced. So Bank Rakyat was fortunate to be part of the evolution. It was for the first time that the pawnbroking business was introduced as a banking product. It formalizes the private and discreet pawnbroking business, and it wasn't an easy task as far as Bank Rakyat was concerned. Initially, when we started the pawnbroking business, customers were reluctant to approach the bank for such a new service. The shame to do pawnbroking activities in the open was too much for the customers to bear. As far as Bank Rakyat is concerned, special rooms were designed to maintain privacy, and a lot of education was also done to make sure to educate the society to realize that pawnbroking business was just like any other banking products. So currently, Bank Rakyat offers this Islamic pawnbroking product, which is called Ahrahnu, nationwide. We have about 185 outlets comprising of 145 branches and 40 Ahrahnu exchange. So these Ahrahnu exchange are specific pawnbroking shops. Okay, at the branches, we still have separate private rooms to service the customer. And at the exchange, it is entirely for Ahrahnu activities only. So in the banking environment now, Ahrahnu services are now offered at other banks too. So if you notice, you can see Agro Bank doing it, Bank Muamalat, Bank Islam, and I think previously, I think the last one is Post Malaysia is also giving Ahrahnu services. So the development had made Bank Rakyat realize that we had established a subsidiary to actually do consultation work on Ahrahnu business. And at the same time, we do offer training. And as a matter of fact, we actually train most of the bankers that are doing Ahrahnu business at the moment. And also the subsidiary offer Ahrahnu franchise, which is designed for cooperatives only. Okay, I'll tell you in a moment why cooperative is the only customer that we offer the franchise. Okay, by doing Islamic pawnbroking, so we could see several advantages. Basically, the system is free from the interest element. Okay, so the scheme, the scheme is actually interest free. Minimum, we take a safekeeping fee, and also we offer friendly counters in which it's still a private room where the customer can witness. To make it transparent, the customer need to witness how you value the gold and what kind of weights does the gold carry, and we'll print the tickets in exchange for cash to be given. Okay. As for evaluation, traditionally they use acid test. That is an old conventional way to doing. They use acid test to determine the quality of the gold and the genuinity of the gold. That was when we started it. We were also using the same method. But however, in 2005, we found a new machine. We call it a densimeter. So basically, this densimeter actually provide density reading for all metals. So if gold were to carry a certain density reading, so if it's not that reading, then we will have to reject the gold. Okay, so in a way, we are actually dealing with pure golds and genuine golds only. So all transactions are clearly recorded. So whatever is being read by the densimeter is automatically linked to the computer system. And we also offer a safekeeping for the gold. At the same time, we also offer takaful coverage for the pawn items, because we need to give guarantee or security to the asset that is given to us for safekeeping. And we are transparent in procedure in the sense that we do issue notices. If it's due, we will tell them it's due. And when we are about to auction the gold, we will tell them we will auction the gold, so that we give them ample time for them to come and at least try to recover their gold. And if they don't, and if we auction it out, we will give the excess. We just take whatever is due to us, and the excess we will give it back to the customer. So these are some of the few advantages that we have. So the second one, okay, this is a bit of history, how we got started, okay? It was in 21st August 1993, okay? So the finance minister had announced that, the finance minister at that time announced that the Arano scheme will be introduced and implemented by Bank Rakyat with the cooperation of Yayasan Pembangunan Ekonomi Islam Malaysia, which is YAPIM. YAPIM is basically an institution that developed Islamic economy in Malaysia. Its concern is developing the nation economy through the concept of Islam. So the government had asked YAPIM to do a study regarding the problem of poverty amongst the Muslim community specifically. So YAPIM had suggested that an Islamic pawnbroking system should be introduced to curb this phenomenon. So Bank Negara then asked Bank Rakyat to implement Aranu with the cooperation of from YAPIM. So basically what it does is it frees the Muslim from riba. Then at the same time, it also breaks the pawnbroking market, which was monopolized by non-Muslims. So on the basis of selection, so you could see why Bank Rakyat was chosen. Basically, Bank Rakyat is a cooperative institution which is exempted from provision of the Pawnbroking Act to obtain a license. So if you are a cooperative, if you want to do pawnbroking business, you can actually open up a shop and do pawnbroking business. But if you are other than a cooperative, then you have to apply license from the local authority to do the pawnbroking business. So at that particular time in 1993, Bank Rakyat was chosen because it had branches all over the country, And at the same time, Bank Rakyat was at that particular time on the drive to converting their business operation into Sharia business. Okay, so in 27 October 1993, a memorandum of understanding was signed between Bank Rakyat and Yapim, and the corporation was formed, in which both parties agreed to a profit-sharing basis. So coincidentally, that was 21 years ago to this date. Okay, the concept used for this Islamic pawnbroking business is quite simple. Okay, so first we have the card, the loan without interest. So basically, the loan agreement between the lender and the borrower, whereby the borrower will just settle the loan amount without any extra charges. And then, so the borrower will give the bank the gold for safekeeping with guarantee. So the borrower will surrender the gold, be kept by the lender. So with the lender promising that the gold is kept safely and take responsibility to replace the missing gold if anything happens to the gold. So for such activity, so we will charge a fee, which is ujrah, for the guarantee given that the gold is being kept. So this is the marketing part of Bank Rakyat. Okay, so let's see. I mentioned here, these are the features of our Aranu product. So basically, the purpose is to extend a loan in a quick manner. So, and taking the gold as collateral. So the repayment is basically either you pay installment payment or you pay a bullet payment at the end of the tenure. Okay, and the margin will land up to 70% of the value of gold. So we have three schemes in this manner, but basically you need to have the gold. So we will give you as scheme 1, and the other one as scheme 2, which is scheme 2 is for a longer tenure. It can go up to 36 months. So, and the scheme 3 is basically also like scheme 1, but now it's for 36 months. The first scheme 1 is only for 6 months. So the beauty is, all you need to do is to pay up the safekeeping fee to extend the period. So you don't have to cover the whole amount unless you want to take your gold back. So as far as the gold is concerned, we only take gold. So as you ladies know, gold is a jewelry item. So we don't take golds with stones in the gold. So what we advise the client is to take out the stones. So it's quite ridiculous, but it will temper the density reading when we measure, we evaluate the merchandise. Okay. Surprisingly, the customer actually take the stones away from the gold. Okay, so while doing the business, this is what business is all about. Okay, so over the 21 years, like I was saying, the educating part was difficult. So we started in 1993. So it was my information is from 2000, because the earlier part of the 7 years, it's not so good. So we could see the progress on the later part of the years, then the business starts to come in. Okay. So as at the end of 2013, we had actually disbursed 12.8 billion ringgit. Okay, as at the end of 2013 also, our outstanding is about 1.7 billion ringgit. We have about 513,000 accounts. So on the average, it's about 3,004 per account. That is how small the Aranu business is. So basically, it's like microfinancing, but with a collateral. Okay, the last part is what has it become nowadays. So judging from what we had gone through, Aranu is now actually good business for those who actually have the capital, because it's very capital intensive. Okay. So it actually is a form of welfare business which helps the society, at the same time generate considerably good income for the proprietor. So the business is legal, okay, and the high level of security features, gold is protected and insured. So, and gold is also the most secured, the gold is most secured amount of guarantee, and it could be liquidated at any time. So, and gold also have quite a stable price. And lastly, the non-performing loan on this Aranu activity is relatively low due to the fact that we actually sell off the gold to recover our loans and return whatever excess to the clients. Okay. The role of Aranu in the socio-economic development. Okay. It is such a simple business. Okay. So what it does is actually is a source of capital for small businesses. Surprisingly, there are a lot of businesses, small businesses, through this Aranu activity, due to the fact that individuals, when they gather wealth through jewelry. When they have the extra money, they buy gold. They know because of the stability of they buy gold. So when they need money, they know gold have value. They can actually sell it or pawn it to a shop. So it's actually it helps. It also gives quick and easy capital to small traders, and they don't have to go to the bank to ask for a $5,000 loan and fill up all sorts of lengthy forms, and the processes include all kinds of credit checking. They don't have to go through those things. All they need to do, come to the bank, bring themselves an identification card and their gold. It also, since Aranu is basically involved to small people in the sense that low income earners, so seasonally these people requires funds. So probably one of the time they actually need the fund when the school opens. So when the school opens, they actually pawn their gold and use the money to actually finance their kids to go to school. And also, this pawnbroking is also something like a microfinance. So it actually is for the development of agriculture and similar industries, that means small industries in which the gold is used. The Aranu will provide the services for gold to be used to find capital for the small business. And also, Aranu offer or give services to anybody who requires some cash to do whatever little things they need to do. So actually now it's no more for the small people. Even the big people now are using Aranu as an opportunity to make more money. So basically, this is just to tell you that it is some sort like a microcredit. So it caters basically for the lower income earners. So we provide loans up to 200,000. This is provided you have the gold worth about maybe 250,000. We only finance 70%. So that is big money for a lot of people. But however, we also give opportunity to the lower income group to actually use the facility. And issues like collateral issues, there's no issue because you have the gold. Issues of guarantee, you don't have to provide a guarantor for this particular loan. And at the same time, the criteria of qualification is very simple. Just like I mentioned earlier, it's just you bring your ID and bring your gold and come yourself. Personally, come and actually do the dealings with the bank. So, at the end of the day, despite the effort done by the government to help a certain group of people in order to give some facilities to them, due to the fact that it's quite difficult to get some financing formally from another banker. So the pawnbroking system is actually a good system. It is very secure, okay? And it is since the 19th century till now, till the modern times, is basically targets the lower income group, and at the same time, processing is very simple. Money is actually used for small, how do you say it, cottage business. Cottage business, you need not big money, you need small money. So at the same time, the money that you had gotten from the pawnbrokers, you can use for a good purpose, and you can actually redeem it back upon making a profit from the borrowings. And also, it is now becoming a main source of business. So it's more widely accepted by society that pawnbroking business is like a normal banking business. So there is no more shame for a person who have gold to come to the bank to pawn the gold and take the money for productive uses. So as far as Bank Rakyat is concerned, I think we had done justice to the government for entrusting us to actually develop the pawnbroking business. In the sense, at the particular time, we are basically the leader in Islamic pawnbroking. So we had contributed in many ways. So and at the same time also, the authorities are trying to gather information regarding pawnbroking, due to the fact that because the license are issued at different places by different local authorities, and the collation of data is not available for pawnbroking business in the country. Okay, so I cannot say that Bank Rakyat owns a certain target market. I don't have that information. Okay, I think the Bank Negara is now still collating the data to find ways to actually regulate the pawnbroking business. Okay, so I think that is my intention, to actually give you an idea what pawnbroking business is in the eyes of an operator. Okay, so with that, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you very much, Mr. Suhaimi. I myself, I didn't know that. 20 years ago, it is a shameful thing to go to pawnbroking. But nowadays, just like Mr. Suhaimi said, this is no more shameful business. I see people who even posted in social media their dealings with pawnbroking, especially when they manipulated gold. However, that is something else, another issue that I don't know whether it is appropriate to discuss it here or not. All right. What I see from the presentation is that the bank gave opportunity to serve opportunity for lower income to middle income to liquidify their asset. It is an opportunity for them to take their asset and liquidify for whatever their purpose. If we want to debate on the whether bank has to do that or not, to give loan or not, and then we also have to debate whether bank should give personal loan or not. So it is in my personal view, it is the loan taker or financing taker, the debt taker should understand and should really think that before they take a loan, they should think of what they will do with the debt rather than the one who giving the financing or giving the loans, as long as we're not pusher for them. All right, for the next presentation, it is the paper on between pawnbroking and gold investment account, pros and cons, and the paper will be presented by Ustaz Muhammad Kamal Mukhtar, Director Zain Associate. I welcome Ustaz to the stage and to address the floor. Dipersilakan.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alamin. Wassalatu wassalamu ala ashrafil anbiya'i wal mursalin. Sayyidina Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Respected Chairman, fellow presenter, discussion of papers, datuk-datuk lecturers and scholars and friends. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Firstly, I would like to thank the organizer for very kindly giving me this opportunity to present this paper, and I'm greatly humbled for giving this opportunity. And the title of my paper is Between Pawnbroking and Gold Investment Account. And when I was given this topic, I was thinking, is it a comparison or is it a choice to choose between pawnbroking and gold investment account? But as we see, pawnbroking and gold investment account has its own purposes. So this paper is basically presenting two topics. Okay, topics on the pros and cons of pawnbroking, as well as pros and cons on gold investment account. Okay, and I'm presenting this paper also from experience and personal research. It goes back way in 2007, where the Persatuan Ulama Pergas in Singapore, they had a co-op and they wanted to establish a rahnu. And I was part of the team in exploring ways on establishing this rahnu. And up to today, they are still looking at this opportunity. And also as a capacity on myself as the Sharia advisor to one of the public listed company in Singapore, who is exploring establishing a rahnu in Singapore. So they are a very successful conventional pawn shop, and they are public listed. So they want to capture the Muslim markets in Singapore. Okay. So my background for this presentation is that I will briefly talk on the features of gold, the unique features of gold, and the many forms of investment of gold, as well as gold as a tool for loan and financing through pawnbroking. And I think for a rahnu, it is not appropriate to say loan. It is better to say financing. I think the terminology is quite important. And also to scrutinize the pros and cons in the services provided in pawnbroking, as well as gold investment account provided by financial institutions. So firstly, the look at gold happened especially or the interest when the economic crisis of 1997, or better known as the Asian financial crisis, and also in 2007, known as the global financial crisis, the instability of the USD or the US dollars, coupled by the increase in inflation and interest rates, have made investors as well as business owners to look at other investment alternatives. And the performance of gold and its price roughly doubling since mid-2007, and I will show you how the performance of gold has been since 1997, has sparked something of a reappraisal of its characteristics as an asset, has led some to revisit its proper place in investors' portfolios, and gold, with its natural feature of having its own intrinsic value, as well as a natural form of hedging, has made investors increase their attention to this class of investment. Before I go further, since we know a lot of things on gold, but there are certain terms that we need to understand before we move on, especially when we talk about gold investment account. Okay, and gold has been a fascination for man for many ages. And we see in the Middle Ages that men are trying to produce gold. Okay, the study of alchemy or alchemia was actually a study on how to produce gold, and we know that this cannot be done. Okay, it is an impossible thing to produce gold because chemically, okay, if I'm not wrong, from my chemistry lessons many years back, okay, gold is a chemical element, okay, element with the symbol AU, okay, an element meaning that in its natural form it is gold. That means if we break the gold bars into its most finest component, which is the atom, so we will see its protons, because we know atoms are consisting of protons, neutrons, and electrons. The nucleus, which is consisting of the protons and neutrons, there are 79 protons. Okay? So, and gold is dense, soft, very soft, shiny metal, and the most malleable, and it can be pounded very thinly. Ductile metal, and is yellow in color. And there are many colors due to the alloys in the gold. Okay, and gold are normally differentiated with regards to its fineness or its composition. Okay, the fineness of gold is determined by its carat. And when we say 24 carat, you are talking about a fineness of 99.9% gold. And normally for this gold, it is stamped 0.999. Okay? And the fineness of 24 carat, it has an impurity of 0.1%. And this 0.1% consists of alloys. Okay, and these alloys are basically silver, copper, nickel, palladium, or zinc. So the different combinations of this alloy will determine the color of the gold. So if there's more copper, then you will see a redder gold in color. Okay? So the composition of and the color of this gold is actually determined by the alloys. Okay? And it is never sold 24 karat 100% gold because it is just too soft. Okay? They need this alloy to at least to strengthen the gold or to ensure its shape. All right? And when you talk about 22 karat gold, you're talking about a fineness or purity of 91.6% gold, stamped as 0.916. And I think this is the most popular gold found in jewelries. We call it the 916 gold. Okay? And we have different coloration because of the components of the copper in the gold. Okay? Well, they say Singapore gold is, I don't know, maybe women knows better. A lot of people likes to shop in Singapore, but I know Dubai has one of the biggest gold market. Okay, and recently when I went to Dubai, one of a friend who is from Rakyat Bank, and he says in one day they receive about 100 million. Okay, 100 million deposit from the gold jewelers. Okay, so that is the size of gold market in Dubai market itself. Okay, right. Historically, okay, and this study was done by Mulyadi, paper in 2002. He made a study on price of gold from July 97 to November 2011. Gold price has increased significantly and has been considered as a safe haven for investors even during times of economic crisis. Okay, so if you look at the graph, from July 97, the price of gold was 331 per troy ounce. Okay, and at November 2011, the price of gold is 1,571 per troy ounce. That is basically about 5 times increase in price. So that is the potential of gold investment. Okay. So characters of gold. Okay. Gold has a unique features. It is fungible. Okay, fungible meaning it is not like semi-precious stones where it is not similar. Okay, fungible meaning it can be freely exchangeable, replaceable, and also gold is indestructible. Okay, one of the most inert metal. Thus, gold is very useful for making teeth replacement. because it will not mix up with our saliva, and it will not react with the chemicals in our body. So gold is a very suitable metal to replace any parts of our body because it is inert and indestructible. Okay, and it is easily storable and can be easily valued. It has massive above ground stocks which are enormous relative to the supply flow. A sudden increase in gold demand can be quickly met through sales of existing holdings of gold jewelry, increasing the amount of gold recovered from scrap, and through the mechanism of gold leasing market. Okay, and also gold is highly liquid and have a high price elasticity. The supply of gold has been relatively fixed for the last century, with annual mine production representing a small share of the total stock of gold outstanding, and with a limited ability for annual production to rise in response to changes in the gold price. Okay, and just to talk on the similarities between pawnbroking and gold investment account, and this is basically the characters that is found in these two products. Pawn shops and gold investments have grown during tough economic climate. So these are the two similarities that we see happening in these two products. And in difficult economic situations such as an increase in inflation rates, we know every year there's an increment of inflation. When things become more expensive, customers of pawn shops rely on the quick and fast accessibility to cash from pawn shops. They would use their available gold to be cashed out for their consumptions and needs. Thus, we see in our Malay community, the makciks, they love to buy gold, just in case when they need cash, they can always use their gold for the users, okay, for their financing. Investors, on the other hand, would shift their investment to safer asset class. They would prefer investment of gold due to its stability and stable returns, and also protection of their original capital from inflation. Okay. I will not cover the principles and services provided by pawnbroking. I think it was covered by the previous speaker. And just to give an idea on the growth of pawnbroking. Okay, and I think previous speaker also has talked about the experience in Malaysia. Bank Rakyat itself about 21 years of experience. Singapore, we have yet to have any experience. Hopefully, in the next 1 or 2 years, we will have some chance of establishing our own rahnu. Okay, so in the studies done by, I refer to a paper written by Azila in 2011, Fernando in 2003, and also Abdul Ghaffar and Urzakia in 1997. As well as reports by Reuters, that in Malaysia, you can see that in 1995, there's about 282 pawn shops. In 2010, there are 688 pawn shops, out of which 259 are conventional, 329 are Islamic. So now we see that there is a surge between rahnu and from conventional pawn shop. So it seems like a demand for a rahnu has superseded the services of pawn shop, conventional pawn shop. In Indonesia, in 1980, there were 450 pawn shops. In 2003, there are 722 pawn shops. In Singapore, 2008, 114. In 2012, there are 200 pawn shops, and we have 2 public listed pawn shops in Singapore. Okay, all right. Product differentiations. Pawn shops, they have different varieties of services with regards to the amount of loan given, period of repayment, maximum loan provided, interest rate, the fineness and the quality of gold, period of extension, and we see that the maximum loan amount is between 1,500 to 5,000 per day. But when I hear our previous presenter, it seems like it should be 1,500 to 10,000. Okay, so I need to be corrected on that. Loan available as a percentage of the value of collateral, it differentiates between 50% to 75%. So it depends on various services. Loan period between 3 to 6 months, extended loan period, meaning after 6 months, if the customer wants to extend, they are allowed to extend for another period of 2 to 4 months. Monthly rate for safekeeping, this is for Ar-Rahnu, between 60 cent to 95 cent for collaterals valued from $1 to 10,000 ringgit. 1 ringgit to 10,000 ringgit. Which is equivalent to interest rate or safekeeping fees from 1 to 2%. Conventionally, it is stated as 2% per month. Okay? And the gold jewelry, the fineness of gold jewelry differs between 18 karat to 24 karat. Okay. Now I'll go into the pros of pawnbroking, and some of these have also been mentioned by the previous speaker. So I apologize if there's some repetition. Accessibility to financing for certain socio-economic group. And now even the most financially savvy customers are also patronizing pawn shops. So not only the lower income, but also the higher income are using these facilities. Simple documentation and approval process. Financing given is immediate, and waiting time for the whole transaction generally takes about 30 minutes. Money is granted as soon as collateral are verified. So very convenient way of accessing to finances. No requirement for customers' credit worthiness, and no restriction on the use of funds. Financing loans secured by collateral. The collaterals can be in the form of any valuable goods such as watches, electronic items, or gold jewelry. And gold jewelry is the preferred choice of collateral as it is easily accessed, valued, and resold in the open market. In other countries, anything can be used. Any valuable or any asset that can be valued can be pawned. So in America, you can pawn anything. Okay? So it serves as a means for customers to purchase new goods and thus enhance the efficiency and liquidity of the second-hand goods market. So sometimes we have cash converters as a cheap form of storage facility for clients going on long travels. I didn't know this is also one of the users. For those people who are worried about being robbed, so before they go on a long travel, they can also pawn their gold for security. Okay. No additional fees imposed on the transaction such as stamp duty and legal fees. Alteration to financing amount and rates could be adjusted on a case-to-case basis based on relationship between customer and pawnbrokers. Loans or financing provided is not only used for consumption purposes only, it is also used for productive purposes such as startup capital for small and medium businesses. This is especially true when we made a study in Kelantan, where the small traders, they use in the morning, they would pawn their gold for providing capital for their businesses. At the end of the day, they would redeem their gold and take back their jewelry. Personalized services provided by pawnbrokers due to their small client base as well as serving a specified location. And this is the pros for especially Ar-Rahnu. Okay, the advantages of Ar-Rahnu or Islamic pawnbroking, it has strong support and demand from Malaysian Muslims for Rahnu, provides interest-free financing for customers looking for Sharia-compliant financing. Strong support from the government of Malaysia in the development of Ar-Rahnu. Charges lower fees than conventional pawnbroking. Ar-Rahnu charges between 11% to 15% per annum compared to 24% for conventional pawnbroking. And this is a study done which I referred to. A repayment period are less stringent and requests for extension of repayment period are often granted. Rahnu will give guarantee on safety matters and will be responsible on the pawn assets. Also mentioned by the previous speaker that it is insured through takaful throughout the financing scheme. On the bidding notice and auctioning process, advance notice will be given and the pawn items are sold via open tender system which reflects transparency. In the conventional pawnbroking, many customers are not informed of the auction and notices, and the notices are publicized in Chinese and English papers. And most of the customers are Malay speaking or Indian speaking, so they are not able to understand or are not accessible to the newspapers. So it is a disadvantage to the customers. And also Ar-Rahnu follow a formal auditing procedure. which is conducted mostly by the internal auditors, and maybe because Ar-Rahnu are mostly provided by financial institutions, and some of them by the state government. Most conventional pawnbrokers do not have formal auditing due to its small operation and handled by the owner himself and support from the few staffs. Okay, the advantages of pawnbroking. Okay, seen as exploitive means of financing, since it targets the non-credit worthy as well as the less financially savvy individuals, and the interest rates are relatively high. Seen as a means of disposing stolen goods, cost of transport would make customers patronize the closest shop in order to reduce transportation costs or choose a location which is of most convenient to them. This forces them to transact with unscrupulous pawn shop owners or those who offer less competitive loans. Pledged items, when not redeemed, would be sold and auctioned. The sold and auctioned items are subjected to the 7% goods and services tax. This tax increases the cost to customers and make pawnbroking less attractive to the customers. Okay, and also the competition. Competition by illegal pawnbrokers who buy pawn tickets. There are many illegal pawn shops that operate side by side with licensed pawn shops. Customers prefer sometimes to deal with them due to privacy, less formalities, efficient services, higher lending values, and convenience. There seems to be a dual pawnbroking regulation with the presence of a Rahnu or Islamic pawnbroking and conventional pawn shop. Okay, now I will move on to the gold investment. And as we know that gold investment, there are various ways that we can invest. We can use either coin, gold bars, we can use exchange traded fund, futures and options, warrants, gold accounts, gold accumulation plans, gold mining stocks, gold certificates, gold-oriented funds, structured products, and these are some, but we will focus on gold investment account. Okay, and now at present, I think, if I'm not right, these are the banks that are offering gold investment account. Maybank, Public Bank, CIMB, Kuwait Finance House, and at present, if I'm not wrong, Kuwait Finance House is the only bank that is offering a Sharia-compliant gold investment account. They buy the gold, but they also use the card instrument, which I'm not too sure why there must be a card. Okay, maybe can be a topic for discussion. Citibank, UOB Bank, Standard Chartered Bank. Okay, and modus operandi of gold investment account. Basically, a customer open a gold investment account and deposit the amount to be invested based on the bank's gold selling price. A passbook would be issued to record all transactions in the buying and selling of gold. Should customer intend to sell or cash out the gold, he will request the bank to credit his money into savings account or by cash. The customer will be paid based on the bank's buying price for the gold sold by the customer. And normally, the quality of gold can be 995.0 or 999.9 purity type. Okay. Product differentiation between banks. It differentiates between 99.5%, which is known as the Turkish Mint, or 99.99% purity, known as the Palm Swiss. Minimum deposit amount between 1 to 20 grams. Minimum balance in account either 1 to 10 grams. Buying price, various buying price between banks. This could be not the latest updated value. Buy-sell spread between 1.15% to 4.09%. Some banks charge annual service fee between 5 to 12 ringgit per year if gold balance fall from 1 to 10 grams, and also differences in the minimum gold quantity withdrawal amount between 1 to 100 grams. Okay. And also differences in physical gold withdrawal charges, stamp duty, physical gold conversion fee, premature closing of gold deposit accounts fee, accessibility of gold price, and also some banks use passbook and some they give you statement accounts monthly. Okay, right. So the pros of gold investment account: it fulfills the unique functions of money. It is portable, divisible, indestructible, scarce, and cannot be creatively produced. Its weight is a good measurement of value. It is acceptable worldwide and easily recognizable as a payment form. Gold supply comes from new mining, refining of recycled gold, and from sales by investors and central banks. Gold demand comes from many segments, namely, and this is one of the opportunity, from its consumers in the form of jewelry, dental fillings, from industry as gold is an excellent conductor of heat and electricity and the most ductile metals, as a vehicle to hedge inflation, especially during economic downturn and political instability, as mentioned in the previous slides. And also gold demand is also found in technology due to its physical features as corrosion resistance and highly malleable and ductile. Gold is being applied in space exploration, nanoparticle technology, and medicine. It is also used as the bonding wire at the core of iPhone. So next time we do not want to use our iPhone anymore, do not throw it, there's some gold in it. So extract that gold if possible. So as a means of reducing portfolio volatility, because the events that cause a collapse of stock prices also tend to raise the price of gold. 15% of annual gold production is held by investors in physical form and provide a natural hedge against currency weakness because of its negative correlation to the USD. If the dollar weakens, the price of gold denominated in US will rise. That's how the relationship between USD and gold. So gold acts as interest rate hedging instrument as gold price move inversely with the interest rate. And my last few slides. Many forms of investment in gold. Account provides instant liquidity to customers who are able to cash out their investment anytime during banking hours. Investment is affordable to many groups of people. The small amount of initial investment allows various categories of customers to make investment. Gold price is transparent and is based on the bank's prevailing gold buying and selling price quoted in the ringgit. Customers also do not have to worry, especially in Malaysia, on currency fluctuations as purchase and selling price is based on the Malaysian ringgit. Opportunity to invest in gold without having to keep gold in its physical form. As customers do not have to keep the gold in its physical form, they keep it with the bank. No charges imposed on the gold safekeeping and withdrawal, unlike pawnbroking where the physical gold is charged for safekeeping or security fees. And also potential in search of the price of gold due to the purchases of gold by central banks of countries with high foreign exchange reserves for the purpose of diversification. And this is maybe we can look at this as potential. Example: China, Japan, Russia, India, etc. These countries hold less than 5% of their total reserves in gold. As a comparison, the international average is about 10.5%. So imagine if these central banks suddenly decide to increase their gold reserves, then the demand of gold will increase. In the EU, this quote is over 40%, and the US holds around 70% of its reserves in gold. So if we look at the graph, it just tells us that most countries they have a very low reserves in gold, other than US. And lastly, the disadvantages of gold investment: buying gold not backed by physical gold would create speculation. Some banks it's just paper gold that they are investing in the market, and would in the long run cause an artificial rise in gold price. Many banks in Malaysia are offering a gold savings account or paper gold to the public. Investment is not insured by the Malaysian Deposit Insurance Corporation. Price of gold could be volatile due to political uncertainty in many gold mining countries such as Africa, Latin America, and Asia. Unclear owners' rights in Russia is an added risk factor which might cause shocks in the gold market in the form of sudden supply reduction. And lastly, increasing energy and transport costs make gold mining extremely expensive additional, more severe environment regulations cause an increase in exploration and mining costs, and all this would lower the benefits as well as the potential in gold investment. So I finish my presentation. Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you very much to Ustaz Kamal for his timely presentation and also enlightening infos. Gold is indeed a very interesting fella. You know, even after the price has been plummeted during past years, we never cease discussion on gold, even though the price is going down. Maybe now, just like Encik Suhaimi said that, Mr. Suhaimi said that, the price is now at stabilized, pretty much stable. For Ustaz Mukhtar presentation for second, I thought it is a lesson in chemistry. All right. It is also good to know that in Singapore, the demand for Rahnu now superseding the demand in conventional pawnbroking. Maybe that whole potential, very much potential for Rahnu to be there in the market in Singapore. All right. We will give about 15 minutes each for the panel discussion to give their observation and comment on both papers. I believe we will start with Prof. Ashraf, okay, for 15 minutes, Prof. Ashraf. Thank you very much. You can do it.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alamin. Wassalatu wassalamu ala ashrafil anbiya'i wal mursalin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Rabbi shrah lana sudurana wa yassir lana umurana wa hlul 'uqdatam min lisanina yafqahu qawlana. Allahumma la ilma lana illa ma 'allamtana innaka antas samiul alim wa tub 'alaina innaka antat tawwabur rahim. My dear moderator, Ustaz Wan Rumaizi, Encik Suhaimi, Ustaz Kamal and Dr. Zaharuddin. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Indeed, it is a great pleasure to be with the panelists this afternoon and to be with all the participants. Great participant actually. I can see a lot of faces that I know and they are well-experienced people before me. Anyway, inshallah, I'll try my best to give my comment. I have been assigned to give my views on the first presentation by Encik Suhaimi. I'm not assigned to go for the second one. I'll come back later if I have some talk about it, but I'll come back later for that one. My dear brothers and sisters, I think it was a very good presentation, giving us the insight of what the effort taken by Bank Rakyat. I think it is a very commendable effort in this business. The presentation, I think, focus on these three main areas. I'm not going to repeat them. Only that you can see this is the transformation I think taken place with the effort, with the the hard working of people in Bank Rakyat, from the conventional pawnbroking, from all the disadvantages that they have in conventional pawnbroking to Islamic pawnbroking with all the advantages. So I think all these advantages have been clearly voiced out before us just now by Encik Suhaimi. I think we need to congratulate Bank Rakyat for all this good and well job done to Bank Rakyat. My only comment on the Islamic concept use, I think it is well known, with due respect to the differences of opinion, still the issue of fee for safekeeping, which is ujrah, that is in relation or correlated to the amount of card and it is not in relation to the physical storage facility. It is an issue from Sharia point of view. We are not going to reopen the book and to discuss about this, but I think we admit that there is an issue, and we respect the differences of opinion about this. Yeah, because the ujrah is in relation to the amount of gold, to the value of gold. If you relate it to the physical storage facility, the scenario will be much more different. Way forward, I have some suggestion, or not some, I have two suggestions in particular. One, easy to be implemented. Number two is a challenge to Bank Rakyat and to the industry, because we know we are doing well, but we want to go, or we want to raise the bar higher. We want to do the better way, and we want to do or to achieve the best as much as possible. So I have two suggestions. Number one, the distribution channel. I think all the way, as indicated in the presentation, Bank Rakyat is using all its branches, the bank's branches and the Ar-Rahnu branches. I think in total it comes to 185 branches of Bank Rakyat as distribution channel to this product. And we know from other jurisdiction experiences from Indonesia and from other part of the world, now they have counter on the wheels. For example, they have a van. This is a Indonesia bank, BRI, takes microcredit on the road because to cater people, the bank is coming to the people, not the people going to the bank. Yeah, so this is maybe one of the suggestions that Bank Rakyat may think of. Of course, there are risks on that, but all the risks, I think, if we think carefully, can always be mitigated. And also, there are mobile phones as a distribution channel. It is quite interesting. This is my suggestion number one. My suggestion number two, from the presentation, we can observe that the activity can be considered as microcredit activity. From the two slides I put on your left-hand side, you can see that the activity can be categorized as microcredit activity. So my challenge or my proposal in the future, why don't we go to microfinance activity? Yeah, what will be the difference between the two? I'm explaining it in my next slide. Microcredit and microfinance. If you open the book of economy, you might have differences of opinion on this, but this is my own thinking. So I'm not referring to any books. So this is my own terms used. You may use other terms if you wish. So for me, the microcredit is, by definition, it is the loaning of small amounts of money to the needy, to the poor, to the lower income, to the medium income, to the targeted group of people. But microfinance, in addition to microcredit, it also includes other value-adding activities, such as the provision of businesses, financial advice, the provision of savings, takaful services, and etc. Yeah, it is beyond just loaning small amount the money to the needy. The risk in microcredit, you are evaluating the credit risk, of course, collateralized by the goal in our case. But in microfinance, it is not only credit risk that you will look into, but you are going to look at other related risks, such as the business risk, the price risk, the movement of price risk, and other risks as well. The contract in microcredit, such as in Bank Rakyat's model, it is a borrower and lender relationship, plus, in addition to the safekeeping fees, ujrah, which is, as I mentioned earlier, an issue from Sharia perspective. But in microfinance, it can be based on sale-based contract, it can be a partnership contract, it can be based on a fee-based contract, and other Islamic finance contract. Yeah? And in microcredit, since it is based on borrower-lender relationship, the borrower is on his own, left without guidance and advice, and therefore, if they take the money for business expansion, it is, they will be on their own, and the failure or the success of the business will depend very much on the person. But in microfinance, the bank will always be with the client. If you take the partnership contract, then the bank is the partner in the business. And you take the sale-based contract, the bank is the seller in the contract. So it is the interest of the bank to know and to get involved in the activity of the client. And therefore, the higher possibility of success, theoretically. Yeah? And for the infrastructure, for microcredit, you only need current banking infrastructure, plus secured safekeeping facilities. This is what Bank Rakyat is having now. Knowledge in gold, and the testing instrument, as mentioned by Encik Suhaimi. You need to test the goal. But for microfinance, in addition to the infrastructure that you need in microcredit, you need also the technical advisory team, other relevant facilities, the warehouse if necessary, if you are selling something to the customer, so on and so forth. And profit and loss for microcredit, it will be kept at certain profit rate, represented by fixed ujrah, but in microfinance, it will be more profit through profit sharing ratio. Of course, it comes with higher risk. Yeah? So maybe, of course, all the risks can be studied, can be mitigated accordingly. One of the slides from the presentation, it laid down some purposes or objective why people need this microfinance. It can be a source of capital to the small business. It can be a source of financing for educational needs. It can be development for agriculture or similar industries, or it is a means of community service. You can find this in the slides presented earlier. But regardless of all those objectives, the relationship in microcredit model will always be based on borrower and lender relationship. Yeah? Regardless whether you need money to whatever purposes stated in the left corner of the slides, the relationship in microcredit will always be on borrower and lender basis. But if we go for microfinance, it will be different. Yeah? If it is a source of capital to small business, you can have it on musyarakah or mudarabah. If it is a source of financing for educational needs, it can be on murabaha basis. And if you need the money to expand a house or to build a new house, it can be on istisna or parallel istisna. Of course, it is not a normal way of banking. It is not a normal way of pawnbroking, but this is another way how we can involve directly in the economic activities of the people, so that the bank can get the benefit and the people also can get the benefit. I take, for example, the murabaha. You mentioned earlier, Encik Suhaimi, that under current banking or Al-Rahnu product, you have thousands of clients at the average of 3,500 per account. So if we can have the knowledge, maybe 1,000 of them, they need the money to build a new house or to renovate their house. Yeah. So as a bank where you have all the statistics, when you combine 1,000 of people who need the money to build the house, you will get the bargaining power, purchasing power to buy the cement, to buy the metal, to buy the the steel. Yeah? instead of those people will go and deal directly with the vendor, the bank, with all the instruments that they have, will be seen as an institution that have the bargaining power on behalf of the clients. So I think, and so on and so forth. So you can have panel of vendors that supply all this. This is done actually in Jordan, as far as my knowledge is concerned. The Islamic Bank of Jordan, they are doing this. So it is not really new things, but we need to explore around the world. There are people who are doing all these things. Yeah? So you have the panel of vendors, you can have the price control mechanism to lower the price, and you can have the panels for Hajj and Umrah, you can have the panels for education, you can have panel for health, yeah, because you are representing thousands of customers behind you. That when we put them together collectively, even though their account only 3,000, but each account, but when we put them together, it will come to billion. And when billions, you deal with all the vendors, I think you can. There will be a difference. Yeah. So of course, it is not easy. It is a challenge. I'm not expecting this. If it is to be done tomorrow, need proper planning. Maybe after another 20 years. But if we are going this way, I think it will be a better way in my view. Instead of just having the borrower and lender relationship. Yeah. So with that, thank you very much. I would like to congratulate Bank Rakyat for all the hard work that they have done thus far. I think it is really commendable. Jazakumullah khairan kathira. Aqulu qawli hadza wa astaghfirullah li wa lakum. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you very much, Dr. Prof. Ashraf, for his comment. Very interesting comment. It looked like Prof. Ashraf wants to extend the business of pawnbroking of Ar-Rahnu. Instead of just giving a liquidify asset of the customers, we go and further expand the business to microcredits, through microfinancing for whatever reason it is. In his comments, Prof. Ashraf mentioned about the well-known debate on Ar-Rahnu model practiced by Bank Rakyat. It is respected and discussion. However, being as a Sharia Committee of Bank Rakyat, I cannot help but to intervene or chip in one or two words here. Forgive me, Prof. Ashraf, for that. You cannot help but to chip in. Well, the way I see it, the Ujra fees reacted indirectly to the amount of qard given. You may see it's reacted to the amount of qard, but it's actually the reaction to that qard is made indirectly, because the test is like this. If you pawn 1 kilogram of gold, and you have your qard up to 70%, the amount of ujra is based on 1 kilogram. And if that 1 kilogram of gold you pawn and you take qard 60% of that, the fees is also according to 1 kilogram, not to 70%. And also if, let's say, the amount reduced to 50% of the amount of 1 kilogram of gold, the fees is based on 1 kilogram of gold. So I think that may clear things up here, and we may discuss this on another occasion. All right. Now I invite Dr. Zaharuddin for his comment and observation on the second paper presented by Ustaz Mukhtar. فليتفضل مشكورا.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Wassalatu wassalamu ala asyrafil anbiya'i wal mursalin wa ala alihi wa ashabihi ajma'in, amma ba'd. Thank you very much to the chairperson, Fadil Ustaz Rumaizi, and also to Encik Suhaimi, Encik Ustaz Kamal, Professor Ashraf, and all of the participants and audience. So my task that has been assigned to me this afternoon is to discuss or to give a little bit of comments on the paper that have been presented by Brother Muhammad Kamal Mukhtar, a discussion between pawnbroking and gold investment account, pros and cons. For the first line, overall comment, I would say that the paper is a very good paper which has been constructed in a very brief manner, and good coverage of pros and cons for each topic, updated with new data and facts, and also has good references. However, the two topics in one is not an ideal way to discuss the paper, so that I can see that Fadil Ustaz not focusing on any specific model, so he has to go, give his comment in a general manner. So I do think that if he can choose one model that can be discussed, that can be more beneficial for the audience. And also the paper, I do think that lack in conclusion. So what as can be seen in the presentation, that he already put all of the pros and cons without giving any comments on each of them, or maybe some of the most important pros, our proponents' idea and argument, and also those who oppose the idea. The same apply to what we call the paper on gold investment. And I do think in the references, he actually should also refer in the ISRA research paper, because this research paper titled The Critical Appraisal, a Rahnu-based microcredit facility, should be referred to either comments or adapt some of the ideas, because I do think that the paper already covered many things, important things, especially from the fiqhi point of view. And also, no suggestion has been given by Fadil Ustaz, so we are actually hoping for a suggestion, but Alhamdulillah, Professor Dr. Ashraf already covered that vacuum and that space by giving us several contracts that can be used as a way forward for a Rahnu product to be, widely accepted not only by local Malaysian scholars but also abroad. As far as we're concerned, the scenario, I think I don't have to repeat again the scenario or how Islamic pawnbroking has been constructed and structured by institution, not only by Bank Rakyat, but also by Yapim, and also Agro Bank, and also Bank Islam maybe, and also some of Kelantan State, they have also this product. Selected features, I think we already know about this. I want to then move forward to the critics and argument. So one of the critics and argument, or what we call as contra or opponent, they are saying and they are questioning, these are not necessarily comes from me. These are actually some point that I gather based on my literature reviews. One of them is pawnbroking a valid form of business in the eye of the Sharia? So some writers and scholars, from their opinion, they are saying that pawnbroking is actually, the original form of pawnbroking is not for business purposes. It is just for security and support contract, to give comfort to the debtor, to give comfort to the creditor, to receive payment from the debtor. So is it permissible and is it viable for us to take a Rahnu contract as a contract to gain profit? So that is one of the critiques being given by the writers and many other academicians, etc. Number two, the Qardul Hasan is a benevolent loan. Should it be utilized in the profit-making manner via link of storage fee? So I know Ustaz Rumaizi already addressed some of the issues, but one more issue is still not being addressed by most of the scholars, who proposed this product is actually, is there any contradiction with the hadith when the Prophet mentioned, لا يحل بيع وسلف. It is not permissible for you to combine the loan contract with any commercial contract, especially buy, especially sale contract. And in another hadith, it is mentioned, إذا أقرض أحدكم قرضا فأهدي إليه أو حمله على دابة فلا يقبلها ولا يركبها إلا أن يكون بينه وبينه ذلك. So in this hadith mentioned that if you are borrowing money from a person, and the lender, the borrower is offering you, if you are giving out loan to a person, and the borrower is offering you his car, for example, for you to take a ride, or they want to offer you some gifts, for example, the Prophet says, فَلَا يَقْبَلْهَا. Do not take it. And do not even think about, taking benefits, and also take advantage on the loan given. So in this current product, we can see that because of the loan given, so you have to, what we call, pledge your asset, pledge your jewelries with the bank. And then the bank says, okay, if it is an original rahn, so the bank will not take any profit out of the storage fee. Only actual costs will be taken by the bank, and that is actually the original concept of ar-rahnu. However, in our case, some of the critics, not necessarily come from me, okay? So some of the critics says that the bank is actually making profit. The bank is actually making profit. Yes, we can say in the fiqh literatures that it is allowable for the what we call the custodian to take some of the fees or whatever for him to cover the actual cost of the custodianship. For example, if you have to pay this and that, and that is actually an actual cost, and it is not a profitable way to make profit. However, in this case, the bank is actually taking profit by way of what we call as bil ujra, what we call as wadi'ah bil ujra, for example. They are saying, some people say there is a contract of wadi'ah there, and wadi'ah bil ujra is actually a commercial contract and a sale contract. So you are taking profit out of this, and you are link it to the collateral. You are link it to the loan given to the customer. So this is actually one of the critiques by the academicians and some scholars. And then, is the storage cost being levied reflective of actual storage costs incurred? If the bank says that we have to take costs because we have to insure or takaful the asset, the jewelries, we can understand that you have to take additional costs, but that must be an actual cost. So we can see here that or it is not actually the actual storage cost, but the murtahin opportunity cost of fund or what? So this is also the critics. And then the storage fee, I think, is it to compensate the guardian of actual out of pocket? I think we already discussed and explained this one. And then number 6, this is also being reported to me and to some of the academicians and scholars, happen again and again in Malaysia because they are taking advantage on the ar-rahnu product. So you can just imagine, you have, for example, what we call 100 gram of gold. You only have 100 gram of gold. And let's say, this is just for example, you are putting it as a pledge. And then you will be receiving 700 ringgit, correct? As a loan. And then let's say you are taking that 700 ringgit and you are purchasing gold at the same time from the third party. And then you are taking that jewelry again and then you pledge it again to the same bank. And then you will receive 70% of the value. So let's say 49 ringgit. And then you got 49 ringgit and then you purchase gold again, jewelries again. And then you pledge it again to the same bank and then receive a loan of 70% of 49 grams of gold. In total, we can say that you already have now 290 19 gram of gold. What is actually the actual and original price that you have? You only have 100 gram of gold. But with a Rahnu product, some people may manipulate, and in order for them to multiply the amount of gram, and what happened is that you only have to pay 783 ringgit just to get 219 gram of gold. Can you understand that? So this is just like fractional reserve system. You know? So if this thing is not being properly observed by the bank, so we will see a lot of people doing this. So we are actually looking at the bank to make some limitation. If you are the customer, you come now, okay, why you are coming again? So you want to do this manipulation of this Rahnu contract? This is not our purpose of doing this, you know. So this is one of the critics. And then in terms of economics and social implication, will such a practice, okay, this is coming from some academician, will such a practice encourage unnecessary spending on credit? Because you have gold, now you know you can get some cash in order to spend more than what you have actually. But I do think that we can argue back this point by saying or by giving a statistic. I do think that from the presentation by the previous speakers mentioned that some of the customer is taking this product for their small and moderate businesses as a capital, working capital, and also some of them purchasing machines or whatever. So if we are actually having the statistic, the correct statistic, we can easily rebuttal this argument by saying that we are not encouraging, this product is not encouraging unnecessary spending, but we are actually helping to generate businesses, real economic businesses and development in the country. And then advocates and supporters, I think I agree with all of the points that had been mentioned by Father Ustaz Kamal. Provide the public with house of car down payment, for example. Some of the customer says we are in crucial need of this product because we need to have a 10% of the house price. So from where we can get this price? We are actually using a Rahnu product. So you can see how this product can really help people in order to purchase their first home and working capital for businesses and whatever. And then easy liquidity and not necessary to encourage unnecessary spending. An alternative for the conventional, yes, I do think and strongly believe that if we don't have this product, most of those lower income earners, they will go to Ahlong. You know, so that is very, very dangerous. So we need to have alternative and fast. So if we want to move forward to do whatever Professor Ashraf suggested, that I also agree 100% for us to change the contract. So we will not have any longer problem with card tied up with any commercial contract, but we need some time to do study and feasibility study. While we are not having this product, we are still in need of current product in order to lessen the harms to the community. And then a clear statistic needed to prove that this product has been has been helping the community since its inception. As for gold account, so I have some issues only. Firstly, gold is a commodity or money. So that is the first issue that need to be solved by all of us. You know, so people tend to talk about in gold investment. Is it really proper for gold to be a thing to be invested? Gold is a commodity or monetary. So if we can say that currency is not a commodity from the Islamic perspective. Fiat money is not commodity. It is a money, medium of exchange. So is it gold, medium of exchange, or what we call money in nature, or a commodity? If it is a commodity, yes, you can say it is one of the proper item for investment. Because gold and money always linkage to each other. So there will be forex trader, which already being pronounced by National Fatwa Council as haram. What about gold trader? Are those people also involved in gambling elements, you know. So this is one thing that we have to observe. Number two, riba element in the event that there is no physical gold is given or available at the time of subscribing to the customer, subscribing to the product. For example, go to the bank and open an account, gold account, and then there is no physical gold available. And if the customer asks for the gold, immediately the bank will not be able to fulfill the delivery and the requirement to deliver the physical gold on the spot basis. And also, if you want to say you want to take the Maliki school of thought opinion, that is 3 days of delays, also I do think that the bank will not be able to do so. Okay, and then open a room for speculators and gamblers, which may also affect the currency prices. Number four, several techniques that being used by the Islamic financial institutions may also be discussed and commented. For example, the institution will borrow the physical gold from the buyer. So I myself already have an experience deal with some of the Islamic financial institutions in opening gold account. But from my own experience, I can say that there is some suspicious action. You know, why? Because when I open that account of gold, a gold account, what happened is that this is not for myself, this is for my children. And then what happened is that the banker says, okay, now we want to borrow it. So I said to them, so I already opened, I am purchasing physical gold from you, so where is the gold? And they say there is no gold. So the gold is, I don't know, they say. So I think, hey, this is not right. So I have to have the gold. Can I take all of the gold? They say, cannot, sir. Why cannot? You have to have a minimum gram in the account. So I said, this is weird. So if I'm purchasing the gold, I can do whatever I want with the physical gold. If I want to take it all, so it's up to me. But the banker say, no, you can't. You have to reserve certain grams in the account. So I do think this is something not right. Wallahu alam. So maybe some of our colleagues here can enlighten us in this issue. And not only that, after that, okay, now we want to, I said, okay, now what happened? Now you have to fill in this form, blah, 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 and then where is the goal? There is no goal. And then I think I will not do so, so you have to show me the goal. That is my goal. So, okay, wait, we call the manager. And then they call the manager, blah, blah, blah. And then the manager say, okay, give the goal. So because this is Dr. Zaharuddin. Okay, so if it's not me, I don't know what happened, So this is maybe one of the audit. Yeah? Maybe the Sharia advisors or the Sharia officer and manager of the bank already observe all of this, but maybe happen because of the frontliners. So this is the challenge of Islamic bank. We, as a Sharia advisor, most of our time and energy has been put in order to make sure that the product is Sharia compliant, but unfortunately the frontliners are unable to grasp the substance of the product. As a result, they do it, in their own way. So what happened now? Now I already got my goal. So I say, okay, all of the goal is here? Yes, now I hold it the goal. Okay, now qabat already happening in real time, and it is not constructively. Okay, this is my goal. Okay, only then, now I want to borrow it to you, to lend it to you. And then they will offer some form and then finish. Okay, so that is when I know what to do. What happened to you if you don't know? So this type of product is being offered and introduced by Islamic financial institution in Malaysia. So I do think that if that happened, so we have to relook into the issue of gold account. So I do think that if we are referring to non-physical gold account, none of us can say it is halal, and it is actually not in our contention and in our focus to discuss. Actually, we are more focusing to Islamic gold account. I think that's all. Wallahu alam. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you very much, Dr. Zaharuddin. Dr. Zaharuddin raised some fundamental issues that has been suffered by this industry and requires further research and further deliberation on the issues, and it got to be solved. Really. Now I would like to ask the presenters. Do you like to answer the issues raised, the concern raised by discussion now, or after we open the floor to Q&A questions? Do you like to address the concern raised now or then? To the floor. All right. Okay. Now we open the floor for questions. We invite you to raise your concern, and please state your names and the institution you represent and to whom the question addressed to. Please. Oh, I think, yes. Anyone? You have the opportunity to raise question here. We have Prof. Ashraf, we have Dr. Azruddin, we have Ustaz Kamal, Ustaz Mukhtar hails from Singapore. Yes? Anyone? Yes, please.
Assalamualaikum. My name is Khairuddin from the International Islamic University. I have a very brief question, not directly related to pawnbroking, but Sharia compliant in general and banking products. My concern, based on my observation, is that issue on transparency has been discussed this morning has not been made clear to most customers. And the styling of using Arabic terms, thus implying as if that it is in compliance with the Sharia, need addressing. So I would like the learned speaker from Bank Rakyat, perhaps is coming from the bank, to address the issue, because many of us who are not familiar with the Islamic terms and also the Arabic terms do get confused. And when we start looking into the very detailed explanation, then we realize some can give doubt and raise many more questions. Wallahu alam. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your question. Would, to whom you address the question, please, maybe?
Maybe if I could give some insight. So previously, most of our product at Bank Rakyat, we do have Arabic names. Okay, so depending on what type of loan it is. So I think we were asked by the regulators to change it, to put the right words for the right loans. For example, if it's a housing loan, we have to call it a housing loan, housing financing. Not like previously we call it manzili. So now we have to change, and we had changed everything. As far as the concept used, I think we have to go through our process, to our Sharia committee, and up to Ben Nagara's endorsement. Okay, I hope I've given some insight on that.
All right, the panel discussion. Ustaz Mukhtar, you want to answer the question? Anyone? Yes?
My experience from consultancy because my previous workplace, we were consultants for University Bank in America. So the products are not using Arabic names. So the words are using leasing, partnership, and so on. So I think it is practical. Okay, and I think these are the terms that can be used moving forward. I agree what the suggestion that has been made.
Okay, the issue raised. I'm not a panel discussion. I'm not but I'm trying to answer the question as well. The issue raised by the issue raised is really killing the customers of bank, and when bank use Arabic term, they thought that it is better to serve for marketing purposes, but in fact it is a backfire to the industry. So that's why now it's changing. In terms of transparency, maybe in frontliner should do better in explaining the contents of the contract. I think that is what our customers want to do. But it depends on what type of customers. Sometimes they only need some financing regardless of the instrument used, the concept used behind that financing. All right, do we have any other, yes, please, please.
Yes, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh. Bismillah walhamdulillah wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah wa ala alihi washabihi wa man wala. So my name is Abdullah bin Jalil from New Seaside Islam Malaysia. My question is posed to all the presenters and the discussants. Actually, I have made some studies on the concept of the Ar-Rahnu, I think during in the early of 2000s. And I have found actually one of the earliest literature discussing the concept of Ar-Rahnu scheme Ar-Rahnu, is written by Tan Sri Nur Muhammad Yaakob. Okay? And in that book, he conceptualized the Sharia concept of Ar-Rahnu scheme consists of 3 contracts. That is Wadi'ah Yal-Dhamana, and the second one is Al-Ujrah, and the third one is Al-Qarb. So actually, from this earliest literature, most of the following Ar-Rahnu products offered by for example, by Yapim, by Agrobank, by Bank Islam, or even by Bank Muamalat, maybe base their structure of Ar-Rahnu scheme on this earliest literature. Even though from our analysis, the first concept or the structure, even though has been discussed by the National Council of Fatwa, National Fatwa Council, I think, of course, there are certain critics on that structure. For example, like, even though the product is named as Ar-Rahnu scheme, but there is not, the Ar-Rahnu contract is not mentioned as one of the elements in the Ar-Rahnu scheme. First one. The second one is, one of the earliest literature discussed that Wadi'ah here is applied as Yadul Dhamanah because there is a charge, there is a ujrah charge on the Wadi'ah. Actually, when there is a charge or there is an ujrah charge on the Wadi'ah does not become Yadul Dhamanah, but it becomes binding, it becomes lazim. Okay, the combinations of ujrah on Wadi'ah makes the Wadi'ah contract as binding from non-binding contract. And the third one is, for example, like ujrah. I think the most accurate term okay, to represent the fee or the ujrah is actually mu'natul marhun. And my question here is, can mu'natul marhun be represented, or can mu'natul marhun, can it be benchmarked against ujratul mithal? Okay, can it be benchmarked against ujratul mithal or not? Because as we know, Bank Rakyat is a commercial entity. So they offer their services and products to make profits. Okay, so if they charge on, for example, they charge on their storage services, like Dr. Zaharuddin said, it must be on actual cost. And my question is, can this actual cost be benchmarked against Ujratul Mithal or not? That is my question. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sheikh Abdullah. I presume Dr. Zaharuddin is the best person to answer. Or Prof. Ashraf?
Bismillah walhamdulillah. Thank you very much for the questions. First of all, I do think this is one of the topic that can be can be discussable by the scholars to issue a new ijtihad. But from the literature, from the literal meaning of the hadith that I already mentioned, so you cannot take any profits. And this is actually also the direction given by the Majma' al-Fiqh al-Islami, OIC International Fiqh Academy, and also AWFI, Accounting and Auditing Organization for Islamic Financial Institutions. They are also towards this type of fatwa, where they are only looking at the actual costs can be taken by the institution. Because if you want to say that the cost of fund is also one of the element of mithal, so somebody can take that fatwa and say that, time value of money is also one of the mithl. The element of time value of money when you are giving out loan can be also one of the elements. So we are actually playing at the border of the riba or no riba. So I do think that great issues still can be discussable by the scholars, but need to have a proper foundation and also evidences that support them. Wallahu alam.
Thank you very much. Prof. Ashraf, you want to add something?
As mentioned by Dr. Zahruddin, I think ISRA has a paper on that. But we are observing the adabul ikhtilaf, the adab of differences of opinion. Yeah, so I think, to move forward, I think it is better to have a product that is not contentious from Sharia point of view. But as of now, I think, as Dr. Zaruri mentioned, it is a good effort, at least compared to the conventional pawnbroker, the loan shark that we have on the street. So I think it is a commendable effort. Only to move forward, I think you need to think, to go to a better situation in the future. Because when we talk about mudarabah musyarakah, it is more suitable for new businesses, for this segment of people. Because if you talk about musyarakah mudarabah with Petronas, they are not interested. Why should I share even the profit with the bank, 95/5? The bank will take 5, we are taking 95, because it is uncertain. Our 5 might go hundreds of millions. We are more, if I'm a Petronas, I'm more comfortable to take a fixed kind of financing, 6%, 7%, 5%, and that's all I'm going to pay. All the rest, the profit will be mine, instead of profit sharing. But for this kind of new businesses, but of course the risk will be higher, but they are open because they know there are risks. But if we guide them properly, they do not mind to share. When they have nothing and we ask them to pay 200 ringgit, it will be a burdensome to them. But if the business with our coaching is a good business, then they can get a profit of 1,000. They don't mind to share 50-50. Because instead of they have nothing, now they have 1,000 and they got 500 as 50% from 1,000. Yeah, so all this, I think we need to study, to do the research, how to go about, and to have the general thinking about that. And inshallah, I think it is not easy. It is very easy to critique, but it is not easy to implement. And for that, I think we are not disputing the good work done by Bank Rakyat. But what we are discussing today, to raise the bar higher in the future. And of course, it will take the due process, as we mentioned earlier. It will not be a one-day kind of transformation. Thank you.
One more thing that I want to share, only 1 minute or 2 minutes, with regard to Al-Fadhil Ustaz Abdul Jalil's opinion. I do think that yes, we can expand the idea by looking at one of the hadiths, Ar-Rahnu yurkabu bi nafaqatih. Okay? But the problem is not there. The problem is the linkages between the loan and the benefit that being gained by this contract of Ar-Rahnu. I do think that yes, we can say it may have some room to say you can take some benefits, because in the hadith mentioned that if you, for example, in the past, for some of the companions, they put their horse in custodian of some people for pledge, So in order to maintain this horse, so you have to put your out-of-pocket expenses. So because of your expenses, you may take benefit of the horse by riding the horse, or maybe take some of the milk of the house or cow or whatever. So that is one of the benefit that can be benchmarked for that purpose of mithil or take some benefit. However, the problem is the linkages between the loan and the contract. Wallahu alam.
Okay, thank you very much for insight, comments, observation, suggestion by our panelists and also by our presenters. I think we have come to the end of our session. I would like to thank our presenters, and please give a applause for both our presenters and our panel discussion. Thank you very much, and I'm signing over the session to you.
Thank you very much, Ustaz Wan Rumezi, all the participants, both presenters and both discussants. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the end of our program for today, and we would like to thank you all for your attention throughout the presentations and also the discussions.